Hi everybody, this is your first of 2 review lessons for finance, and this is just like the exponential unit where we're going to kind of make a little bit of a cheat sheet here. So we're going to start with simple interest, and remember I showed you this simple interest triangle, and how to use that. We put a little multiply there, a little multiply there, and a divide there. And then remember, whatever letter you're looking for, cover it up with your finger, what's left. So for example, if I want to figure out what P is, cover up P with your thumb or finger, what's left? I divided by R times T. Now I'm going to write what each one of these letters stands for as a reminder. So I, remember, stands for interest earned. P stands for the principal value, which is just another word for the present value or the starting amount. R is your interest rate. And do not forget, that's as a decimal. And T is time. Always in years. And then A is your final amount or future value. And remember, for simple interest, that equals how much of your own money you put in. And then what you add to it is the amount of interest you earned or accrued if it was a loan. A couple of simple interest examples. If you invest $600 for 5 years, that's 6% simple. As soon as you see the word simple and not compound, you know you're using this triangle or this formula. How much is the investment worth in 5 years? So we know that we invest $600, that's our starting amount. My rate of interest, 6%. Don't forget, divide by 100, 0.06. Time, 5 years. Now this is asking us for how much is it worth. So we need to figure out how much interest we are going to earn and add it to how much of our own money we put in. So we're looking for I first, and then we're going to figure out what the future value is afterwards. Since we are looking for I, cover it up in your triangle. I equals what's left over, P times R times T. So I equals P times R times T, which is just sub all those numbers in. 600 times 0.06 times 5. And you should get $180. Now that's not what it's worth. That's how much interest we earned. So if I want to figure out how much it's worth, we're going to take our $600 investment, add our interest to get $780, final answer. And don't forget word problems, therefore statement. The next example, how much must you invest at 8% simple interest for 10 years to earn $400? So we know it's simple, so we're using this formula triangle. It's 8%, so 0.08 for R. It says 10 years for time. We want to earn $400 interest. So that's my I, that's the interest earned. How much must you invest? That's asking you for how much money do you have to invest now? What's your starting amount? Going back to your triangle, cover up the P with your thumb, finger. What's left over? I divided by R times T. Plug in your numbers, 400, and then 0.08 times 10. And then don't forget, from our first example on simple interest, you want the bottom to be treated as one calculation. So how do you do that? You put brackets around that. Now you can enter it just like you see it. So using your calculator, literally type in 400 divided by, open bracket, 0.08 times 10, close bracket, and you should get $500. So therefore, you must invest $500 right now at 8% for 10 years to get $400 in interest. And there is our simple interest review questions for our cheat sheet we're making. Before we get into compounding interest questions, we're just going to go over some of these key terms and definitions and kind of some of the legwork and the skills you need to have. Annual. Annual is 1 time per year. Semi-annual is twice. Quarterly, 4 times a year. Semi-monthly. Now we didn't do this one, but semi-monthly means every half month. So there's 12 months in a year. How many half months are there? 24. Monthly, 12 times a year. Bi-weekly, every other week is 26. Weekly, 52 weeks in a year. Daily, 365 days a year. So we're going to do the RC, R divided by C, 3.5% compounded weekly. So that's your C value. So R over C equals 0.035. Don't forget, divide by 100. Weekly is 52. So this would be the R over C value. The next one, 15% per year, compounded daily. 0.15, and daily, that's our C value. Daily is 365. Down below, we're going to calculate C times T. And don't forget, time always has to be in years. So 2 years, compounded monthly, C times T. Monthly is your C value, so 12 times 2, 24. Same thing here. My C is now quarterly, which is 4, times, now, we want it to be in years. So we're not going to multiply by 16. How many months are there in a year? 12. So you want to multiply by 16 over 12, which equals 5.33333 repeated. So 5.333 repeated. So make sure you have a handle on those definitions and those compounding periods and doing those little legwork calculations, R over C and C times T. Now we're going to get to our 2 sets of compound interest formulas and examples. So the first one we are going to do is future value. So I'm going to write right here, future value. And our formula is A equals P, 1 plus R over C to the exponent CT. And then don't forget, interest equals the final amount minus the principal. So if you invest $600 for 5 years, compounded, as soon as you see compounded, not simple, you know you're using this formula. Always the word after compound is your C, so semi-annually. How much total interest do you earn? So we're going to have to figure out the final amount. This is our game plan. Figure out the final amount. Subtract how much money of our own we put in, and that'll give us how much interest we earned. My starting value, $600. My interest rate, don't write 6, 0.06. My C value, semi-annually, that is 2. And my time, it says 5 years. Plug and play into our formula. A equals 600, 1 plus 0.06 divided by 2, and then 2 times 5. Make sure you do the exponent calculation first. 2 times 5 is 10. And then enter just like you see it. 600, open bracket, 1 plus 0.06 divided by 2, close bracket, exponent 10. Go to 2 decimal places forever and always for money. So make sure you get the same thing, $806.35. Now that's the final amount. We want to know how much interest we earned. So what should we do? Well, we're going to subtract how much money of our own we put in. And if you remember, we put in $600 to start. So if we do that simple subtraction, we know that we earned $206.35 in interest. And there's our example for future value with compound interest. The last compound interest question we're going to do is present value. And remember, it's still compound interest, but the formula is slightly different. So this time we are looking for the present value, the principal. Remember, we're looking for words like now or today. Maybe we'll write those, now or today. Those aren't the only words we're looking for, but that's 2 of the key ones. So back to our formula. P equals A, 1 plus R over C, and then remember our exponent is negative. So how much must you invest today? That's our visual cue that we're looking for present value, the P value, at 7.5% compounded. So that's how we know we're using compound interest formulas. Biweekly, that's always the C value, in order to have $4,000 in 10 years. So I want to have $4,000 in the future. That is my final amount. I'm looking for how much I need today. How much do I have to invest right now? My R value, 7.5%, but don't forget, divide that by 100, 0.075. My C value, biweekly. What number is biweekly? 26, right? Every other week. Time, it said 10 years. Using our formula, P equals 4,000, 1 plus 0.075 over 26 to the exponent negative 26 times 10. Make sure you do the exponent first. And negative 26 times 10, negative 260. So you hit pause, try your calculator, make sure you get the same thing as I do. $1,891.51. Remember, as a quick built-in self-check, if you're looking for present value, your answer should always be less than your future value. And conversely, when you're looking for the final amount, like we did in the previous example, it should always be higher than what you started with. Otherwise, it wasn't a very good investment, right? So there's a couple of ways. You can't necessarily know if your calculations were right, but you definitely know they're not wrong. Since we got less than 4,000 here, and in the previous example, we got more than 600, which is what we started with. So that's it. Very quick first review, kind of cheat sheet lesson. And then the next review lesson, we're going to kind of do the same thing, but more of a practice test format. Okay, talk soon.